a city that's fat, wise, and red, Venus's belly button, and a dish with 4 names. This week, it's all about Bologna, Italy.
Traveling the world to bring you delicious dishes, tasty beverages, and interesting experiences. This is the Destination Eat Drink Podcast on the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
I'm Brent Peterson. Welcome to Destination Eat Drink, the travel podcast for foodies. This is where we talk food and travel at destinationeatdrink.com, on the Destination Eat Drink YouTube channel, and right here on the Destination Eat Drink podcast. This week, we're in the amazing food city of Bologna, Italy. But first, if you like Destination Eat Drink, please share the podcast with your friends. It really helps to spread the word. And if you really like the show, please consider a one-time or recurring contribution at buymeacoffee.com/destinationeatdrink, and thank you very, very much. Andrea Chierici is the man behind Taste Bologna, a top-rated food tour company in Bologna, Italy. He's born and raised in the city, so he's the perfect person to tell me about Bologna's famous markets, local wines, and why the city is called La Rosa, or Bologna the Red. Plus, he tells me why lasagna noodles in Bologna are green. Okay, I'm starving, so let's eat.
Destination Eat Drink.
Andrea Chierici from Taste Bologna. Welcome to Destination Eat Drink. It's my pleasure to get to talk to you today about one of the world's best foodie cities.
Thanks so much, Brent, for having me. It's a pleasure.
You're from Bologna. You have your business in Bologna, and we're going to talk about the food of Bologna. But first, tell me what it is that you love about Bologna besides the food.
Well, first of all, I was born in Bologna, and I've grown up here, and so this is my life. This is not just my city. So it's very hard to tell you how much you love your place that is part of you. So I'll try to be more objective as I can. It's a small city, you know. We are not New York or London, but inside Bologna you can find so many different food places. People, it has its own life. So it's different every time you come, and I think it can pleasure many different tastes.
Bologna has several nicknames: Bologna la Grassa, the fat; Bologna la Dotta, the learned; and Bologna la Rosa, the red. Could you explain what each of those nicknames means about Bologna and how it fits in with the culture of the city?
Yeah, Bologna is famous for these 3 names, but maybe not everyone knows the real meanings. For example, let's start from the red. You can think that they can be the red for the political side of Bologna, for our left-wing part, because since the unity of Italy, Bologna have always been red, so like a communist. The fact is that if you look around Bologna, if you walk, you will see a lot of clay. All the roofs of Bologna are made of clay, so it will look red. All the walls are painted red, yellow. And so there's also a name of a color that is called the Rosso Bologna, red Bologna. So that's the first one. La Dotta, the wise, is the easiest one, because we have one of the oldest university in Western world, with Paris. And so, we've always been full of academies and doctors and wise people. And the last is the fat that you can expect is for our food. Because our food is not light for sure, but it's not just for that. Because la grassa, it also means the rich. Because Bologna, since Middle Age, has always been a rich city. We had a great university, a great market. We were famous for food, for silk. And so it's not just about the food. It's the fat because of our, opulency.
I like it. I always assumed when I heard Bologna La Rosa that it was related to the color of the red sauce.
That's a good one.
Alla Bolognese, but I guess not, And I think we have a connection here because, Bologna is known for its left-wing politics. I live in Setúbal, Portugal. This is very famous for left-wing politics. For years, during the fascist times, this was a very oppressed area because the people were so left-wing and anti-fascist. So I think we have kind of the same thing going on with our city politics in Bologna and in little Setúbal, Portugal.
The resistance during the World War II was really hard here in Bologna. The partisan made a huge work to free us from the Germans. So yeah, that's very important of our history.
Yeah, very good. And the university too. I mean, when I was in Bologna years ago, I was struck with, not only the magnificence of the university, but also the vibrancy that all of these young people bring to the city. It's really, it really lifts you up quite a bit, I think.
Yeah, I'm not a university student anymore, but I like to walk around the university streets because they're alive. They're alive day and night. There's no weekend, no weekdays. You find a lot of energy that is, flowing into the city. So because these young people maybe decide to live in Bologna, to stay after university, and so there's always something new, exhibitions, restaurants. But it's a continuous flow of ideas that come.
You guys do all kinds of food tours in Bologna, and as I was researching, I found that you guys often start, or early on, you end up in the market, which makes me happy because I love a good market. Tell me about the food markets in Bologna.
Okay, so Bologna has always been a city of markets. I like to start all our tours in Piazza Maggiore, which is the main square of Bologna. Not because it's just central, it's a landmark, but also because that's the first market that people would see during our food tours. It's not a market anymore, but it was a market until 1910, and that's the first one. Then we visit Mercato dell'Erbe, which is very local, with the old women with their trolling doing their shopping. We stop at Quadrilatero Food Market, which is the most famous one, and it's changing fast, especially in the last years. And also there are many other small farmers market and food markets around the city that are very alive every weekend.
When you said Quadrilateral Food Market is changing rapidly, in what way? Is it becoming more focused on the prepared foods, on the food hall type thing, or what is the change that is going on?
Well, tourism has an impact in, it's like all the economy, like all the industries, it has an impact. So, there are a lot of more people coming in the city, and the offer of food, especially in Quadrilatero, is changing to fit those needs. It's still a market that is authentic, in my opinion, but you need to know where to go. You can't just sit in the first place and think that you're gonna get some quality. Maybe there are some places that don't even have a kitchen that can offer you pre-cooked tortellini or lasagna. But there are the old places and the quality places. You just need to know where they are and how to find them.
This is why you need to take the food tour from my buddy Andrea, who we're talking to about Bologna.
This will help.
This will help, definitely. What are some of your favorite things to get at the market? would we start with the coffee?
Well, coffee is another topic that I can discuss for you for about half an hour, just about coffee.
Of course.
Because many people expect to come to Italy and have a great coffee everywhere. It's the opposite, actually, because the quality of coffee in Italy is pretty low. At least after the economical boom of the 60s, where the request of coffee grew and the quality of coffee went down, and as many people became barista and made agreements with a coffee company without caring anymore about what were they actually selling. So finding a good coffee place in Bologna, but in general in Italy, it's another research issue. So yeah, we've always been to the same place, which is Roma. And the good news is that new young generation that are opening bars and cafe do care about the quality of the coffee. So you find places like Allegra, Fornobrisa, Caffè Terzi that are all nice places. But if you go, by chance, you don't. The chances are that you won't get a good coffee.
And how do you like your coffee, Andrea?
Oh, we like, espresso. Italians do like it fast at the counter, short and intense,
That's so true. So let's talk a little bit about pasta, because we can't talk about Bologna without talking about pasta. And I mentioned earlier we had a brief talk about ragu alla Bolognese, but give people an idea of what we're talking about when we speak of ragu alla Bolognese. What is it traditionally, and does it ever change when you go from place to place? Are there any modern versions of it?
Oh, Brent, ragu Bolognese, if you ask the recipe to 10 different people or chefs, you're going to get 10 different recipes. Because there's one that is kept at the Chamber of Commerce that is like, the official recipe of Bolognese ragu. But I've never listened to recipes that are the same from my friend, chefs, everyone, even small details, but they change it. So what I can tell you about Bolognese ragu are the rules to call it Bolognese. So first of all, we always start with 3 vegetables: onion, carrot, and celery. Then you fry them, but in butter, in lard, in olive oil, whatever. Sometimes people use beef or just beef, or also pork. But to call it Bolognese, it doesn't have to be too tomato saucy, too red. It's we just add some concentrated tomato paste to make it slightly red, like orange, but not like ragu from Naples that maybe it's used also for baked pasta in the oven. Bolognese ragu is it's very, quite dry, not too soft, not too liquid like that one. And the last important thing is to eat it with an egg pasta, usually with tagliatelle. It's the most famous one. For sure, never with spaghetti or other just wheat pasta.
I think a lot of Americans must be listening to this and saying, we're not getting real Bolognese in the States, because it comes on spaghetti and it's usually, not always, but it's usually much, much more liquidy than what you're describing as a very concentrated meat type of topping on your tagliatelle.
Yeah, I think your audience should come and taste the real one here in the city.
Of course. Another famous dish that's related to pasta is lasagna alla Bolognese. Can you talk about that one a little bit? Is it just Bolognese sauce between lasagna noodles, or how is it made?
Wait. No noodles. No. Lasagna is like a layered pasta that is baked in the oven, and there are layers of sfoglia, which is our dough, that usually for lasagna is green. Is green because it's not just egg and flour like for tortellini or for tagliatelle, but we also use or spinach or nettle, the herb that hurts if you pick it. To make it look like it's a little bit lighter. It's not. It's still heavy. It's still a heavy dish.
We're in Bologna. It has to be heavy, right?
It has to be red. It has to be heavy. And also some bechamel between the layers. And also in the years, you have different versions. So some people do 3 layers, 4 layers, up to 7 layers. It depends. I like it tall. So I like it, up to 7 layers of dough, of pasta.
That's awesome. And I like the spinach added to give it a little bit extra flavor. That's really cool. You know, you guys do, Bologna is also very famous for tortellini, and you guys have a tortellini making class. What do people learn in tortellini making class?
Yeah, first of all, they learn, it's a very hands-on class. So they put their hands on the flour and on the eggs, and in an hour they create this Venus's belly button, how we call them, and after that they eat the result of the preparation. It's all made by hands. So you start just with flour and eggs, and then on a wood board, and then with a wood rolling pin, they make the sfoglia, and they close the tortellini by putting the filling inside. I don't know if you know that despite ragu being a relatively recent recipe, because until World War II, you need to use your cows to make milk. You don't want to kill a young cow to make ragu. At the opposite, tortellini is a very, very old recipe that changed a lot of times during the centuries. So now the traditional filling is with the pork loin, mortadella, Parmigiano Reggiano, and nutmeg. But in the past, you could find inside also some bittersweet flavors like raisin, cinnamon. We used many spices.
Oh, wow.
So during the class, you put your hands on, but you also learn about that.
You know, it's amazing to me when I see the pasta grandmothers making the tortellini, and they're just whipping out these little, you call them the belly button of Venus, these beautiful little tortellinis, like one after the other, boom, 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 boom. And for me, when I try to do it, it takes me a really long time, and it doesn't look like Venus's belly button. It looks like her ugly stepsister's belly button, but it's fascinating to me how they have such skill at making these pasta, like the tortellinis, by hand. It's fascinating.
Yeah, Brent, consider that is a job that usually is taught from mother to daughter, or from mother to son. But they're trained since they're young, and they make it a lot of that, especially during winter time. Tortellini now you can find it every day, but it's not an everyday dish. It's something for special occasions, for Sunday lunch with families, for Christmas lunch, New Year's Eve, Easter, and during winter time, the shops and the people who do that for a living, they work also at night to fulfill the requests of the people.
Is there any fear that in these modern times that this could become a lost art?
Yes, I think more than a fear, that is a reality. Because it's very difficult to find not even young generation, even my parents that were not used to learn and to have the time, most of all, to prepare this kind of pasta, because we have to say the truth, it takes a lot of time to make the filling, to cook, and in the past, usually were the men who used to work in the countryside, and the women stayed home to cook and to care about their children. Now it's very different, and so the people who wants to make tortellini, they have to make it for a living. It's hard to find it at home. That's why we like to promote it, the knowledge of that with the cooking class, also to keep the tradition alive.
Let's talk about another type of tortellini called balanzoni. What is this exactly?
Okay, you need to know that in Bologna, in Italy, in general, we don't like to throw food away. So we try to reuse as much as we can. Balanzone is one example because it has the shape of a tortellone, so bigger than tortellini, but with the filling of tortellini. So it's a way, maybe if you do too much filling of tortellini, too much stuffing, you don't throw it away, but you reuse it in another shape. And I can make you a lot of examples of dishes that reuse old food. Like another one is passatelli, that use crusted bread, mix it with Parmigiano and eggs, and then you make a pasta. Balanzoni are another green pasta, so you would like it with spinach or nettle in the dough.
Yes. Maybe 30 years ago, when we lived in Rhode Island, my friend Luigi, who's from Bologna, opened a restaurant with his wife Stefania, and one of my favorite dishes, their food was always so good. One of my favorite dishes was something called Crescentina. And I had never had, 30 years ago, I had never had it before, but I would always get it when I would go to their restaurant. And I asked Luigi about it, and he said it was from his region in Bologna. But I never saw it anywhere in any American restaurant, and I didn't really see it years ago when I went to Bologna. Now, maybe I wasn't looking hard enough, but I love Crescentina, and I'm telling you this because I imagine not many Americans come on your tour, Andrea, and say, I'm looking for Crescentina. Can you talk about this dish a little bit and what makes it so extraordinary?
I'm surprised that the Crescentina hasn't arrived yet in the United States because they are very delicious, in my opinion.
They're the best.
Yeah. And they're basically fried dough that is fried in lard, not another light dish. And to add something more fat, we usually serve them or with mortadella, prosciutto, fresh cheese like squacquerone. And I like to say that is a social dish because you just don't order one. Maybe you're with friends, you're on a huge table, and you order 40 crescentine, and then you share with your friends, you share the meat. It's something very common that we do here in Bologna. And like many other dishes, they slightly change their name and their size if you move even a few kilometers. So if you go to Modena, you find crescentine, but they call it gnocco fritto. If you go to Parma, crescentine are called torta fritta. And in Ravenna, pizza fritta or piadina fritta, but that's the same.
They're all the same. Stefania used to make a lighter version of this. She had the one with the prosciutto on it, but she also made one with just a little salad on it, and then she would take a radish, slice it in half, and carve out these little holes in it and put little peppercorns and little pieces of chive and make them look like little ladybugs. And they were just absolutely adorable, and of course, super, super tasty. And this might be the one example of a light Bolognese dish. Let's talk a little bit about wine from the region. Now, we're in Emilia Romagna, and what is the wine, the specific local wine that we should look for when we come to visit you in Bologna?
Okay. Also about this, your audience shouldn't expect to come to Barolo or Tuscany. We've always been a countryside area, so we have very simple wines. The most famous of our city is Pignoletto, which is similar to Prosecco, but don't tell this to Pignoletto producers. And it takes its name from pigna. You know, pigna is the fruit of the pine because of the shape of the grape. It can be sparkling or still, and it's very good, I think, with salumi, with cured meat and cheese, and with crescentine. Much better than a red, much better than a Sangiovese. So this is the one that is really from Bologna. Then in Modena you have Lambrusco, you have you have Sangiovese. In Bologna, usually Pignoletto is a good choice.
Talk a little bit about Lambrusco, because in the United States, this type of wine got a bad reputation in the 70s. And so I think when a lot of people go to your region, they hear about Lambrusco and they're like, "Oh, Riuniti on ice, that's nice." They don't want to try it because they think of it as a low grade wine. And I think they really need to understand that there are some great Lambruscos out there.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that reputation that developed around the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. But now you can find really great Lambrusco. Also, they use a Charmant method to make it, and there are really quality producers. Maybe they make small quantity, a few bottles, but they work really great. I also arrange a wine tasting with a guy that is very expert, and we did that also with John Hopkins students that has the university here in Bologna. And I'm sure we can change that reputation if you allow us to do.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely worth it. And this is just reminding me of our great late nights with our friends Otis and Antonella in Bologna. I mean, when we visited, they took us out for a full day in Bologna. I remember our first day in Bologna, they took us out for a full day and dropped us back off at our hotel at 2 a.m. And the last thing they said to us as we got out of the car was, "What time do you want us to pick you up in the morning?" So I would say, if you go to Bologna, you're going to have a lot of fun, and the people there are so welcoming and hospitable, and it's really a great place to go. Andrea Chierici, thank you so much for being on Destination Eat Drink today. It's been great talking to you. I'm going to leave a link for Taste Bologna in the show notes so that people can get in touch with you. They should definitely be taking the food tour when they visit this wonderful part of Italy.
Thanks, Brent, for having me, and I hope I can welcome you to Bologna again to have some Crescentina together.
A Crescentina and maybe a little bit of that sparkling white wine sounds marvelous.
Thank you very much.
That's Andrea Chierici. Great talk, right? You can reach Andrea or book a tour at tastebologna.net, and I've got a link in the show notes. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, we're talking about wine in France, including the most underrated wine region in the country, the left bank and the right bank of Bordeaux, and an alternative to Châteauneuf-du-Pape. So don't miss that. Until then, get over to destinationeatdrink.com. I just posted a story with the 5 best things to do in the northern Portuguese city of Guimarães, including taking a cable car to a mountaintop and visiting a bar hidden in the rocks. Read that at destinationeatdrink.com/blog. I also just posted a new video. This one is about one of the best foodie streets in all of Spain, where you can dine on Michelin-recognized tapas. See that by clicking on the video tab at destinationeatdrink.com or by going to my YouTube channel at destinationeatdrink946. You can also help support the show at buymeacoffee.com/destinationeatdrink. Thank you so very, very much. Destination Eat Drink is distributed by the Radio Misfits Podcast Network and Ed Silla. Thanks, Ed. I'm Brent Peterson. I'll see you down the road.
Join us next week for another culinary adventure on Destination Eat Drink, a presentation of the Radio Misfits Podcast Network.